I want to talk to you about, does staging a home actually increase the sales price and increase the profit for you? Or is it just something realtors tell you to do because it makes the home look nicer and it's easier for them to sell? Well, let's just go ahead and kind of dive into the details. But first thing I want to cover in this video, I want to talk to you about 5 things that came out of the latest study from the National Association of Realtors on staging. So I want to look at some of the stats on that. And then I want to talk to you about my practical experience staging about 14 homes in the last year and a half and just how it has really impacted the sales. I'm in Orange County, California, so Southern California. Probably a much bigger difference than many other parts of the country, but I'll just talk to you about some of those differences. So let's go ahead and just talk about the statistics first on staging at a national level. Association Realtors report 30% of realtors said that staging impacted the buyer's perceived value of the home, somewhere ranging a long range between 1% and 10%. Now, I know that is kind of a big range, but let's just do a fair assumption of 2 to 4%. If you're selling $1 million home and you spend $4,000 to $6,000 in staging, but you are getting back a perceived value of somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000, that could be a big deal. Now, that's not always how it plays out, but let me just tell you that is the statistic, okay? The second statistic is faster sales. So roughly half of agents that staged their listings said that the home sold faster than when they didn't stage their listings. So we do know that there is some stats there that it increases the quickness of the sale and decreases the days on market. From a real estate perspective, days on market is like death to a listing. Okay, the longer the home is on the market, the lower your sales price is. I know this is kind of hard for a lot of home sellers to really grasp, but let me just tell you the conversations that buyers have when they see a home on the market, even more than 3 weeks, the first thing they ask us is, what's wrong with it? Well, we don't want buyers asking what's wrong with your home when we're listing it, okay? Trust me when I say that is not a good thing. So it does help homes sell faster. The third statistic is that it helps buyers visualize the space. 83% of realtors said that when their buyers viewed staged homes, they were able to visualize themselves in the home more easily, which made them more comfortable potentially writing an offer on that property. So it definitely does help with the presentation, and that is why almost all home builders, brand new homes, think about it, they got the best product, the nicest new solar, everything. It's all new. So why would you even waste money staging it? But they all stage them. Why? Because it helps buyers visualize and get emotionally attached to the property, which means they're likely to pay more when they're more emotionally attached. Okay, the fourth thing that came up in the study is that it improves online appeal. So when you're shopping for a home, the first picture and the first time you see the property is kind of like your photo on a resume. If you pay for a professional photo on your resume and you look nicer and you look your cleanest, you're more likely to get noticed by that employer. The same thing happens online. When your home looks better online, the algorithms on Zillow and all the websites actually promote your listing so it gets seen by more people and they're more likely to want to take a look at it. The more bodies you get in, the more views you get on the home, the more bodies you get in the home, the higher the sales price goes because you have a better chance of getting multiple offers. Okay, the fifth thing that came up on the study was which rooms you should prioritize staging. So in the survey of all the realtors, pretty much everyone agrees that the master bedroom, the kitchen, and the main living area are the priorities. I know, and I'll talk about my experience in a second, but many times we don't even stage secondary bedrooms. We just stage these 3 areas, and it tends to make the biggest difference. Okay, so those are the 5 things that we know from studying realtors nationwide, how they believe staging can impact the home sale, since they are the salespeople on the front line dealing with questions from buyers, talking to buyers and seeing if they're really interested in writing an offer. They have a pretty good perspective on whether or not staging works. From a home seller's perspective, you might only sell 1 home every few years or maybe even 10 years. So you don't have that real longevity of experience that a realtor who sells 1 or 2 homes a month can really see how tons and tons of buyers are interacting with the property. Okay, so those are the stats from realtors. Now, what is my experience as somebody who has helped facilitate over 250 home sales and purchases? Here's what I can tell you, because I didn't stage for many, many years of my career. I did not believe in it. And then about a year and a half ago, I saw this trend where buyers were becoming increasingly picky because interest rates got really high. And so they became really picky about, one, the homes they wanted to view, and number two, this desire for the homes to be turnkey. Because they're financing and having such a large payment, their mortgage payment went up 30, 40% in some cases when interest rates went higher. So now they're really wanting that home to be move-in ready. And here's what I've seen the impact. So when I stage a listing versus don't stage a listing, I absolutely see it takes longer to sell. People come in the property, they see the existing furniture, they look more about the functionality of the home, and they don't get emotionally attached to it. So I see it taking a very long time to sell. The second thing I see when I don't stage listings is that there's less buyer traffic. So we had a home that we recently just sold in Lake Forest, California, and the sellers wanted to put it on the market as is and test out the as is pricing. We put it on, I think it was around $550, $560. We had almost no showings. Then we did some light repairs, some light remodeling, and we staged it. And we had, tons of showings. In the first week, we had more showings than we did the entire few months the home was on the market prior. So presentation, staging does make a huge difference. I will also say the third thing I see is buyers getting a little bit more emotionally attached to the home. Because the escrow process is so long, it's typically 30 days, you need the buyers to kind of stay engaged with the property, to stay emotionally involved in it. And what I've seen is that when I stage listings, they fall in love, they fight for the property. Many times there's multiple offers, and they're more likely to stick with the sale until the end. So those are the 5 things that the study showed, the National Association of Realtors report showed, in terms of how staging impacts a home sale. This has been my own personal experience. If I was ever going to sell a property of my own, I absolutely would stage it if I could, because it does make a huge difference. I have seen it. We sold a home a few years ago where prior to staging it, I was worried if we could even get $1,450. We staged it. Afterward, we sold it for $1,550. So I believe the staging was really the key differentiator. We also did paint that home, but I mean, we didn't spend a ton of money on paint. So it was like painting and staging made a huge, huge difference in the sales price. So hope this was helpful. If you have other opinions or thoughts on this, please comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. As a buyer, do you prefer a home be staged or not staged? And as a seller, what do you think about staging? Does it make sense for you? Comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.